for them. All right, so let's move it along now to Jayden Reed. We kind of talked about him quite a bit already, but I put this article out there, and I think it's important to really put things into perspective, and it got really good response on X, to be honest with you. There were some knuckleheads that he had a bad second half of the season. He was horrible the second half of the season. Guys, the last 9 games of the season, he only averaged 2.5 targets per game. What do you expect the guy to get? Like, seriously. What? And you can look at that and go, well, I blame Matt LaFleur, or I blame Jayden Reed for not getting open, or I blame Jayden Reed for drops and Jordan decided not to go to, or I blame the injuries that Jayden Reed suffered, whether it was the shoulder or the ankle, right? There's a lot of factors that come into that. The tape suggests teams really started to shade on the break side of the climb routes he were running. And that's kind of his money play, right? So if you're not willing to deviate away from that, then guess what? Let them take 2 players out of the play to kind of shadow and shade and bracket Jayden Reed a little bit. And what does that equal? You go into Dontavion Wicks, where Dontavion Wicks had a whole bunch of drops. To me, that's why his targets went way down. A combination of injuries, game planning and scheming, right? Other teams scheming to try to stop him first and foremost. And also Matt LaFleur believing in Dontavion Wicks and wanting to get him involved, because there's hardly any other receiver in the league that can get open as good as Dontavion Wicks. He's an excellent route runner. Just gotta finish the catch, right? So, all right. So I just labeled this Jayden Reed misinformation. I said, combing through social media last year, you would think that Jayden Reed took a huge step back in his second NFL season, but it couldn't be further from the truth. All right. Here's what I wanted to point out. First of all, shout out to the 33rd team for posting this on X. This is the highest passer rating when targeted in 2024. All of last season, wide receivers, tight ends, and running backs, to the best of my knowledge, definitely wide receivers and tight ends, when they were targeted, these are the passer rating when targeted, and they filtered out all the noise and said you had to have a minimum of 60 targets, okay? Mark Andrews at the top of the list at 140.9, second in the entire NFL amongst wide receivers and tight ends. Guys, you got to understand that the majority of teams run 11 personnel, right? The most of the time. Even the teams that run a lot of 21, they still run more 11 than 21. Okay. So if you're running 11 personnel, that means 3 wide receivers and 1 tight end on the field. Okay. So if you take every single team across the league and you go, okay, there's 4 players, there's 4 pass catching targets, forget the running backs right now, on each team, and you multiply that by the 32 teams, you're talking about a crap ton of players, well over, what would that be, like 160, 150, 160 players that are all getting significant looks on the field. And he's number 2 out of that group at 137.5. I mean, and what's really cool is look at number 5, Tucker Kraft at 131.1. So Jayden Reed was second in the league. Tucker Kraft was 5th in the league. Jayden Reed had a higher passer rating when targeted, 60 targets or more, right, than people like Terry McLaurin, Amon-Ra St. Brown, right, Chris Godwin, that was one of the guys I wanted in free agency, right? I'm telling you, man, this whole talk that Jayden Reed just, oh, boy, he had a really bad year, it's absolute B. Could he have played better? Absolutely. Everybody could have played better. I mean, that goes without saying. But to sit here and pretend like he took this huge step backwards is just freaking nuts to me, man. Nuts. H.E. Soder, Reed was on the field for like 60% of the offensive snaps. Matt LaFleur has got to explain that. And I think what it was, Soder, he did say it during the last third or last quarter of the year. He was like, yeah, we're trying to limit the hits he's taking because he was so banged up. That's what I think it was personally. He had some drop problems. Don't get me wrong. He was not perfect. But even with the drop issues and the lack of targets because he was banged up, look at this where he ranked. Now, people are going, well, that's just passer rating when targeted, Clayton. I could care less. All right, let's dive into some more statistics here. Probably going to be hard for you guys to see this, so I'll try to be as vocal as I can here so you know what it said. Matter of fact, let me just do this. That might probably don't help much. Yeah, we'll just go back to it. Let's just go back to the original here, I believe. All right, so here's what you got. In 2024, what I want you to key in on is the 2023 in 2024. I'm going to read the stats here. I'm going to go hand in hand with them, okay? In 2023, Jayden Reed's rookie year, he had 94 targets with 64 receptions and 793 yards with 8 touchdowns. Last year, he was targeted only 75 times. So he was targeted, 11 fewer times, if I remember correctly, if the math is right there. And he got 55 receptions. He finished with roughly 64 more yards, if my math's correct, than he did in 2023 on 11 less targets. So when you look at the yards, even better than he was in 2023 on fewer targets. The only thing that really dipped were the touchdowns. He went from 8 touchdowns to 6 touchdowns, okay? Look at the yards per reception. In 2023, he averaged 12.4 yards per reception. In 2024, he jumped all the way to 15.6. So you're talking about 3.6 yards more per reception in 2024. Everybody talks about the drop issue, right? In 2023, his catch percentage was 68.1%. In 2024, in the big drop year, it actually increased to 73.3%. So it depends on where you're getting your drop information from. And I'm not going to name him, but there's this one dude on Twitter that covers the Packers, and he loves to just pretend like the only reason Jordan Love had a down year was because the receivers were absolutely horrible. And it's amazing how his drop percentage that he has, the drop rate in which he has for these players, these receivers on the Packers, is far different than NFL Pro, which, by the way, you can go to NFL Pro, and you see how this is highlighted in yellow. We can go to every single target. If we were to click on that 75 right there, it's going to pull up in the order in which the season unfolded, every single target that Jayden Reed had. So they're saying, here's the targets, here's the drop percentage. And they'll show you, it's just like with the pressures. Like PFF, we got these nameless, faceless people behind the scenes that we never evaluate the evaluator. We never grade the grader, right? And we don't know, like they'll have a different pressure rate than everybody else. What I love about NFL Pro, you can go to the pressures, click on it, and the tape is right there. There's the box cam, bang, here's all the pressures. And you can decide. And I'm telling you, every time I've done it, it's always shaken out. So again, that's why I like NFL Pro over some of these other websites who are very, very secretive about how they're coming up with their numbers. And you guys know I'm a big PFF fan. I use it all the time. I think it's very, very useful tool. All right, let's move it along here. Catch percentage, again, we talked about him increasing to 73.3%. Now let's go to catch rate over expected. All right. Catch rate over expected in 2023 was 1.0% positive, plus 1.0%. Last year, it increased to positive 1.2%. So he got better there. Look at the receiving EPA. In 2023, it was 26.2 positive. In 2024, it jumps all the way to 37.7. Guys, that's receiving EPA on far fewer targets. So far you're seeing like 90% of the stats have gotten better from 23 to 24. Look at the yak yardage. In 2023, Jayden Reed had 359 yak yards. In 2024, he jumped all the way to 415, improved on that. Look at the yak over expected. I think that's a plus 18 in 2023. He went all the way from a plus 18 to a plus 59 in 2024 in yak over expected. Look at the average targets now. He went from 10 down to 8.2. So what happened this year? Maybe why didn't he reach that 8 touchdown mark? Maybe why didn't he get more receptions? Yes, he had drops issue, although catch percentage is up. So you can go to every one of those targets and determine, all right, on that target, that was a catch, that was a catch, that was a catch. Okay, that was a drop, and you can do the math yourself with your calculator and figure up if that 73.3% is accurate. Look at the average separation. Here's the other thing. Yards of separation at 3.4 on average in 2023, right? In 2024, his average separation went up to 4.0. So he got even better in 2024 at creating separation. I'm not going to go through every statistic here. Like you can go to the player splits, the air yards, all that stuff, and dive into yourself over at NFL Pro. Just want to point out, do you guys see where I'm coming from, or am I losing my damn mind? When I hear people talk like Jayden Reed, he's a bum, he took a huge step back, and I'm looking at this going, what numbers are you looking at? What are we talking about? And the only thing I can come up with is It's that small, very, very, very minute, small portion of the fan base that when they're watching a game and things don't go their way, they start kicking and screaming like a 6-year-old in the cereal aisle. It's just like, oh, somebody's got to be to blame. You got to fire him. You need to cut him. Get him out of there. He's a bum. It's wild to me. Absolutely wild. So yeah, there is kind of how everything. Now let's go to the advanced metrics here, okay? And I think we hit on most of them. There might be a couple here. Let's see your average separation. We hit all that. Deep percentage, I think, is what that is, right? Is that deep percentage? Yeah, I think that's what that says. Deep percentage. So that might be deep shot plays, right? Or 20 yards or more, I would imagine. That did take a dip. He went from 20.2% down to 18.7%. And I don't know what the TW is. I don't have it added up to get the. I wonder if that's total win percentage. Maybe like considered a win on the play. That could be the case. I don't know. I don't want to misspeak there. But it looks like that dipped as well in the advanced metrics. But again, you guys have access to all this over at Patreon. Just go check it out, this whole article here. And again, this is to move it along here. It says it still confuses me how many fans think Jayden Reed had a bad year in 2024. He had more yards in 24 on 19 less targets than 23. His catch percentage increased from 68.1 to 73.3. He averaged 3.2 yards more per reception. His catch rate over expected increased by 0.2%. His yak over expected increased by 41 yards. His receiving EPA increased by 11.5 last year. And I said, was Reed perfect? Absolutely not. But the reality is he improved on every statistical category other than touchdowns and receptions while having far fewer targets. Why the lack of targets? Matt LaFleur attempting to limit the beating he was taking at the slot/F position, along with opposing teams game planning to stop him, which forced the ball to Dontavion Wicks, who led the team in targets. All right. And here's the other thing I pointed out, too. I said the big argument that Reed doubters lean on is he, quote, disappeared in the second half of the season. 6 of the final 9 games of 2024, he had a positive receiving EPA in average. Listen to this, guys. In 6 of the final 9 games of the year, this is I literally cherry picked this because people say, well, it was the second half of the season that he was horrible, right? 6 of the final 9 games of 2024, he had a positive receiving EPA. And then 3 of those 9 games, he averaged over 20 yards per reception in 3 of the final 9 games. And again, that's why you look up where we started this article and you see this dude had the highest passer rating when targeted of any receiver in the league with at least 60 targets or more. All while only averaging 2.5 targets per game in those final 9 games of the season. So positive EPA and 20 yards per reception in 3 of those 9 games. And he only got targeted an average of 2.5 times, on average in that 9-game span. That makes sense. So want to get your all's take. Throw it in the chat and obviously comment if you're watching this show later, not watching with us live. Make sure to leave your opinion there. Again, I'm not saying Jayden Reed is Jerry Rice. I'm not saying he's someone that's a top 3 wide receiver in the league. I'm not saying that. What I am saying, though, is he improved off his rookie year where everybody was just raving over him. I mean, he literally 90% of the stats, he got better. And this is with his quarterback playing injured all year, right? I mean, it's just – and this is also with Christian Watson getting banged up in and out of the lineup, that type of thing. And when you don't have that deep threat over the top, guess what? These defenses can now clamp down on Jayden Reed, on those digs, on those shallows, on those climb routes, right? On the curls when they run the wrap concept, all those things. Defenses can slam down on that because they don't have to worry about Christian Watson taking the top off. Well, guess what? We got a young man by the name of Matthew Golden with a 4.29 40 coming in this year who's going to be able to take that top off at X or Z. And watch, if I'm not saying Golden's going to be a home run. Listen, Golden and Savion could both be busts, right? And if they're busts, it doesn't mean Goody's horrible at drafting. That happens every single year in the league, right? However, if Golden is a hit and he hits that 600 to 800 mark like Jayden Reed did his rookie year, it's going to mean that he's taking the top off the defense, and you watch Jayden Reed all of a sudden turn into Jackson Smith and Jigba with those type of numbers, and he's going to crack 1,000 yards if he stays healthy. I firmly believe if Matthew Golden is the player we think he is, and they do play him at X and boundary X with Christian Watson being out right now, and they mix him in at Z as well. It'll probably be more of a Z than an X, but if Dobbs is gone, I wouldn't be surprised if they put him in at X. If they go that route and Matthew Golden is, 3/4 of the player we think he's going to be, and just hearing the coaches rave over him, one of two things is going to happen this year. Matthew Golden, if they both stay healthy, Matthew Golden's either going to crack 1,000 or Jayden Reed's going to crack 1,000. I firmly believe that. But we know injuries happen, and we've seen the injuries and what happened to Jordan Love last year. That stuff's going to come into play as well. So hopefully that all made sense. And for everybody that is listening in podcast form, hopefully I explained it well enough that you guys kind of get the picture on some of those stats. And again, if you want to join our Patreon group and check that out yourself, you know how to do that. Patreon.com/Packer Fan Total Access. So there is your Jayden Reed breakdown. Really excited to see what he does this year for sure. So, all right, guys, that's pretty much it. I wanted to hit on the Matthew Golden, Savion Williams expectations. I wanted to hit on Jayden Reed and that misinformation that's been going around with the overly emotional fans being all upset about it. And I'm glad we got that in. Let's do this. Let's do a quick little giveaway. That sound good? Let's give away a Dontavion Wicks autographed jersey here. And again, I think Wicks has the opportunity to really shine this year as well if Dobbs ends up not being a Green Bay Packer. I think there's a legit shot that Tay Wicks, that's the other thing. If Tay Wicks takes boundary X and Matthew Golden settles into Z and he and Jayden Reed kind of rotate in and out that moving Z position as well, it could be Dontavion Wicks that blows up. He could be the dude that cracks 1,000, right? And it's going to come down to how defenses want to play those guys, I have a lot more faith in Jayden Reed cracking 1,000 than the other guys because there's so many defenses across the league that have now went to that shell coverage, that, too high look, and that does deter quarterbacks from taking those shot plays as often. But I also think defenses are going to make Matthew Golden try to prove that he's a deep threat. If that makes sense. So I don't know if you guys seen at the rookie premiere too. They had the little catch. What's it called? I don't even know what they call it, but they get in this like half circle and they got these little sticks, these little colored sticks that drop, and you don't know which one's going to drop, and the receivers have to grab them. It's like a reaction, but also a hands drill. He didn't drop one. Now he forgot about the last one because he turned around to celebrate. But Matthew Golden, hand-eye coordination is a big thing for me with Matthew Golden. Body control, hand-eye coordination, being able to lean in and out of the routes and manipulate the DB a little bit with just that little subtle movement. He's got excellent body control on tape, and he's got, I feel like, really good hands. I really do, even though he did have that 9% whatever drop rate. When you watch him, he's got strong hands. He attacks the football as opposed to letting it come to him. So anyway, let's get into the Dontavion Wicks giveaway here. All right, somebody in the chat, give me a number between 1 and 10. Let's shuffle this thing up. We got 118 entries. Again, if you guys, if you're not a member of the Patreon group and you want to get in on the next giveaway, we're going to be giving away an autographed rookie card. We'll pull one from the stack here. We got all kinds of good ones, LVNs. We got Javon Bullers. We got all kinds of stuff in there. Just make sure you're a member of at least a $3 tier on Patreon, and that's just a way that you can win some cool prizes here while supporting the show as well. All right, looks like the first number that came in was Solder at 3. We had 2 old for this at 9. So let's combine those two. All right, let's call it 12. We're going to shuffle this thing 12 times here. You ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Let's spin this sucker, and let's give away an autographed Dontavion Wicks jersey. All right. The first place winner of that jersey, Dontavion Wicks jersey is Jaden Tebow. Jaden Tebow. I always think of Tim Tebow when I see that name in the Patreon group. All right, so that's the first place winner. We're going to spin it 2 more times in case Jaden is in the clink or we don't know where he's at, okay? So if Jaden doesn't come forward and collect that jersey, the second place winner is Clint Cosgrove is the second place winner. Clint Cosgrove. And then if he doesn't come forward, we'll have a third place winner just in case. And we have given quite a bit of items to the third place winner because people didn't come forward, right? Here we go. Is QU underscore 21. All right. QU underscore 21. Look at this cheapskate. He said, y'all giving something away? I'll jump in here real quick. What's up, Jacob?
I just had to see who's winning. Who's winning here?
All right, so here's the winner, Jacob. The winner of the autographed Dontavion Wicks jersey, and it's the throwback 50s style green, too. It's pretty sweet, is Jaden T first place. Second place is Clint Cosgrove, and then the third place is QU underscore 21. So if you guys heard me read your name there, one of you, all three of you reach out in case, the first and second place doesn't come forward. You're all on Patreon. So this is another reason why we want to ship everything to Patreon, because it's easy to get a hold of the winners there as well. Shoot me a DM in there. I'll try to shoot you guys a DM when I get some time later too. But as soon as you hear this, whether you're listening later on podcasts or you're, watching later or whatever, just shoot me a DM. And what we'll do is figure out where we need to mail that jersey to. Okay. Again, first place, Jayden Tebow, second place, Clint Cosgrove, third place, QU underscore 21. So there you go. Jayden Tebow was the winner. I don't know. Clint won is what Chris is saying here. What are we talking about, Clint? What are we talking about? Coach Lynn says it's rigged. Did you see how close it was to Coach Lynn's name? Let me put it back up here. Look right here. I don't know if you can see my cursor or not, but probably can't. Look 2 names below the needle there.
Yeah. All right. There it is.
So close, sir. So
all right.
Anyway. All right, Jacob, I was getting ready to wrap up here, man, but I'm glad you jumped in and talk a little ball for a second. Somebody has super chat. Let me get back to that real quick. Badger Trio, thank you so much, buddy. We appreciate the super chat. He says, how do you stop this offense if we get 2023 love, especially second half of the season 2023 love? That's a great question because, here's the other thing too, Jacob. Like I did an extensive breakdown on like expectations for Matthew Golden and Savion Williams our rookie year, but it might be Savion that breaks out and Matthew Golden ends up being a bust. You know what I mean? Hell, they could both be busts and Dontavion Wicks takes a huge step forward. Like, you never know how these things are going to shake out. But if we do get 2023 Jordan Love, especially second half of the season, Jordan Love, and that's exciting, especially with Josh Jacobs now. Oh, my God.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that if we have a running game, which obviously we do with Josh Jacobs, it unlocks a lot of the hidden talents that maybe we should have that we're not used to. I mean, like you said, we have 2 draft picks. Michael, the golden guy, the 4.29, really, like that's incredible speed. So, and with Savion, we don't know exactly what kind of weapon we have with him, and it's just fun to see. And I had to jump on because. I was reading the chat driving home, and it's just you guys are too funny not to jump on. So it's just it's a blessing to have you guys. I'm just saying, like it's awesome, dude. This chat is so great, and just when I was coming home, it's weird listening to the podcast when you're like, I want to jump on, and listening to Clayton have to go solo because Emilio doesn't like to work on the weekends. You know how he is, and. It just is what it is. But anyways, it's just a blessing to have you guys. And
it is, man.
It's really cool, man. I'm just happy. It's May 18th, guys. And we're
right.
We're all just dialed in. We're ready to go. Right.
Yeah.
Like we're ready to go.
It's so true, man. And it's funny too, that little shot at Emilio. He's hearing this on the mower on Monday afternoon right now going, that son of a gun. He does it to me every time I'm not here. No, but with the chat, I want to say this too. I watch a lot of live streams on YouTube, a lot of Packer live streams. There's some guys that they'll have 300 people in the YouTube and there'll only be like 5 or 6 people commenting. And you come into our chat and like right now in the YouTube, we only got 74 in here on YouTube. We got like 112 on X. I think we got 30 or 40 on Rumble. But we got like, you look at the chat, everybody is engaged. And I don't think it's a testament to us. I think it's a testament to kind of the culture we've created here on the show because it's like, hey, let's all get in here and talk ball. It's not going to be something where the host ignores you in the chat. I wish we could hit every chat, but obviously it's hard to do all that. And we will always honor those super chats because we appreciate everybody that's, taking their hard-earned money and supporting the show. But I'm with you, Jacob. It's a special group, man. It is. it never ceases to amaze me. I was talking to Manny the other day, and she was like, "I'm proud of you," and I appreciate that, because what we created here. But I was like, look at the people that we've met. Like this box of autographed cards, people showing up with cannolis at the Airbnb in Green Bay. Like it's just
it's a special type of weirdos, right? Like it really is, honestly. And that's the best compliment I can give you guys, because it takes a certain type of people that understand it. Like when people talk about like what are the Packers, the Green Bay Packers organization, it's like it's more than just games and all that kind of stuff. It's family, it's friendships, it's relationships, it's much more deep than just a game, and it's awesome, man. And honestly, when I watch the chat, you guys, I usually, geez, my cat's running around like a terrorist. When
Osama bin Garfield back there.
Exactly. Yeah. Usually, like we all have our like Tim's great on the drops. Like he's really great. Like not having Tim is just kind of weird because Emilio tries to do it and it's not as great. Emilio's not the best, but he's.
Are you saying Emilio is the dollar store version of Tim? Is that what you're saying here?
Basically, with the drops. I mean, honestly, anyone is. Tim's got the drops, man. He's so good.
He's got it down, man. But Tim got a little background in radio and stuff.
Yeah, he does.
He got that voice. Yeah. His voice is perfect for the radio, man.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
I've got a face for radio and I got a voice for the trash can. You know what I'm saying?
And so my little part of the show is that I have to watch the chat, and just so you guys know, stop. I see all your guys' chats. I love it to death, but you guys can't keep me straight. You guys wonder why I laugh all the time. Clayton, I feel bad because Clayton's like, here we go. We're doing like a serious segment, and I'm sitting over there going, like,
I hear it every
Chris
time.
and Chuck and Eric.
I'm in the middle of a deep dive, and I look down, and Jacob's cracking on. I'm just like, I can't do this. I
can't do it, man. It's hard. Anyway. Daryl's in the house. What up, Daryl?
All right, so a couple of chats here I marked, and we'll get out of here. Two over this says, Jair Alexander will be the Bears' leading receiver. I love it. That's the other thing, too. If Ja does end up being a Packer, I think you're going to get the best version of Jair. I really do. I don't think it's going to be something where he just kind of mails it in. Not that he ever has, but I think it's going to be something where he's like, all right, I'm going to show everybody they want me here type thing. And also, if they do restructure the contract and just make it a 1-year deal where he could test free agency next year, there's some rumors that might be the answer to both sides. If that happens, Jacob, he's going to be wanting to have the best season he's ever had to get the big payday next year,
You know what? I've all of a sudden turned that like I really want Ja back. I really do. I think that like I look at this schedule, dude, and I'm just sitting there like we need a guy that wants to. And I started watching highlights and him just being talky, like I want that. I need that in the back, in the cornerback room. And if we have him and a guy like Valentine, I really do think that if those guys come up and they show up, like, man, we could have a really great defense, really great defense.
Holmes in the chat says Marshawn Lloyd is going to cook this year. Book it. That's the other thing. Like it's like we're getting another 3rd-round pick this year because we didn't even get to see him last year, right? Yep. And Dave went on to say it too. And a healthy Marshawn Lloyd. There you go. Yeah. So I'm excited about it, man. It's going to be a fun year for sure. So, all right, guys, I'm going to get out of here. Jacob, appreciate you jumping on for a second, man. Tomorrow we're going to hit a little schedule stuff. We'll also do probably get to the Baron Sorrell. Started to do it tonight, but I'm like, you know what? I'll wait on Jacob. Then you end up hopping on. So I've just already got everything geared up to wrap up. So we'll come up with some more good topics tomorrow. There's some stuff I want to do with Jordan Love and a couple other things I want to dive into, like Tucker Kraft. Just like the Jayden Reed article, when you dig into Tucker Kraft's numbers and say, okay, if he had gotten X amount of targets, if they had targeted him the same amount as the other tight ends, he'd have an historical year for sure. So what's that cat's name again?
Binks.
Bink? Looks
Binks.
Like Binks. Binks. Sorry. Get it right. Jeez, P.
Come on, man. Amelia would hit you for that.
All right, we're out of here, guys. Again, Jabin Tebow, Clint Cosgrove, and QU_21. Shoot me a DM over at Patreon. Appreciate everybody hanging out with us. Again, also, one last plug on this. Don't forget, we got this going on, okay? If you guys want to donate to a good cause and give yourself a chance to win an autographed jersey by Dorsey Levens, obviously Super Bowl winner from the 90s there, a great running back for the Packers in the Holmgren era. You'll see that link attached to my Twitter handle at Packers_access. It'll be right at the top. It's givebutter.com/KRPSJ5. Anybody who donates there is going to be entered onto the wheel for this autographed Dorsey Levens jersey coming up in early July. We're going to give that away. So it's going to run all through the rest of May, June, and then we'll do the giveaway in July. I may even sweeten the pot a little bit too. I just don't want to overpromise. I want to underpromise, overdeliver. You know what I'm saying? So again, check that out. And that is for My Autism Connection, building hope, community, and independence for autistic adults. Make sure you go check out that charity. They may be some places located near you that you can donate time. You know, some people say, I ain't got no money to donate. I completely understand. I've been broke as a joke throughout my life. If you ain't got money, you can donate time. If you ain't got time, you can donate money. It's typically how it goes, right? So let's just go out there and